Your time is money, and we're going to talk all about what you should be charging for creating content for brands because they're putting it in their ads. Welcome back to this UGC series for beginners on how I help educate you on how to grow your portfolio so you can start working with brands right away. This is the third episode in the series where I talk about pricing. How should you structure your UGC pricing and what you should look out for when a brand asks to work with you, and how you should negotiate. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode where I talk about deliverables. They really do go hand in hand. When I first started working for brands, I actually wouldn't charge anything. That's right. In fact, I just worked for products, and it was only because I was trying to grow my portfolio. I was trying to figure out what it was. In fact, I didn't even know what I was doing at the time was UGC, user generated content. I just thought a brand was sending me their product and cool, I got to talk about it and it was awesome, and it also alleviated the stress and pressure of managing my own social media, which I really wasn't into at the time, and just being able to create and give a brand the video. And so it was so much fun. And now I do it full time. When I first got started creating content for brands, I only did it part time. In fact, I worked for a full-time company all 40 hours a week. And so I really only had the weekends and then after work to devote to creating content for brands. The first gig I ever got, a brand actually cold called and reached out to me asking if I could use their serums and stuff in a video of mine. I was like, cool, yeah, I actually really need that. And little did I know that that first video that I did completely for free, by the way, I only received product as payment, was the video that I use as my portfolio. So I always tell you, don't do any free work. However, when you're just getting started, it's okay to do free work for products if you need to get some work under your belt, if you need to get a portfolio. After you have a few videos in different industries, at that point, I really would not work for free or for product only. Brands are putting this in their ads, so they already have a marketing budget and you're included in that marketing budget. If you're way over budget and a brand says, oh, we can't afford that, it's okay, because there's gonna be another company, another brand that has a marketing budget that you fit into. And if you're doing this part-time, you're gonna get plenty of work, so do not stress about losing an opportunity. After I started getting a cadence of things and I already had a portfolio and I was charging brands, the first time I ever charged them was $150. Now that is what I have seen across the board, a standard price for one UGC video. Getting started is a whole new ball game. Getting started is working with brands, figuring out what works best for you. It's getting your portfolio built up. And when I say portfolio, think of it as your resume, your social media of what your content you're creating. And it's important when you're working with brands that they let you use the content that you created for them in your own personal portfolio. As I've grown my skill with working with brands and my skill in content marketing, I have developed a tier pricing level at this point. The first tier that I offer brands is the newsletter option. And this is a 15-second, quick, short, sweet, to the point video that they can put in their newsletters or even their social media, of course. But there is no B-roll included and there's no script writing included in this either. And it is short and to the point. It's where you're basically just holding up your phone and you're just talking. And that's it. You're not getting into anything else, any dynamic or complex video creation at that point. The newsletter options, I charge $150 starting. The second tier is the classic UGC. This is a 30-second full script reading time, comes with 4 B-roll shots. It's about 150 to 180 words for 30 seconds. Now, unless you're starring in the episode of Gilmore Girls, it's really hard to fit 200 or more words in 30 seconds. In fact, what I'm talking now, the speed that I'm talking, which is pretty fast, is about 200 words per minute to 250 words per minute. And I know this because I was working with the brand and I was trying to incorporate all of their content into 60 seconds that they needed. And they were like, please make it work. We really need all of the content within 60 seconds. I should have charged them a little extra, but I was able to make it work for them. They were happy and I was happy. All was well. 60 seconds is very similar. It's 60 seconds of pure script reading time, plus I include 6 B-roll shots. And it is about 250 words per minute. You can get a ton of content in this. And when I first got started, I noticed that brands, they didn't incorporate word counts. In fact, what you're gonna see is 3 hooks, 1 storyline, and 3 calls to action, and then 2 or 3 B-roll shots that goes within the video. And I just learned along the way to instead of looking at the hooks, calls to action, and storyline, to really focus on the word count and the duration that I'm actually reading the script and the B-roll shots. Because surprisingly, it takes a lot longer to film the B-roll shots than it actually does to film the 30-second script reading time. Because you have to think about it. You have to get set up. You have to make sure the lighting is right. If you're working during the day and you get home and the sun is setting and you only have a certain amount of time to utilize that sunlight. And so you really have to hustle, and there's very little room for error when you're trying to film under like a short time frame. Your time is money, so you have to take that into consideration when you're structuring your budget. One thing I encourage any brand I work with or agency is to pay for more than one video. This is where I offer them a discount in order to do this, and they can get a lower pricing than the base price. The reason for it is because I am much more efficient with my time when I'm able to film 2 or 3 videos in one setting, so that way I can knock it out and they're getting 2-3 videos. They're not getting piecemeal videos throughout the week or throughout the next 2 weeks or whatever. And it also helps me get paid a little bit more, and I'm really spending the same amount of time with the B-roll shots. That's a little secret for you. I'm gonna offer a link in the description below that's gonna guide you to my website to download the PDF that I use for my baseline pricing. And you can see everything. I offer all of my pricing, transparent pricing, what I actually give to brands whenever they ask me for my pricing. When I first got started, I was getting a ton of gigs, and I was getting, if you think about it, if you're getting paid $150 for one video and you got 16 gigs lined up, that's pretty solid week, right? Well, if you're doing this part-time, you have to remember how long it's actually going to take you to film these B-roll shots and to film the entire scope of the work. Plus, you have to take into consideration how long it's going to take for the brand to mail you the product. Something that's super important when you're trying to structure your pricing is how much the deliverables is within it. I offer 4 to 6 B-roll shots for my packages, and a lot of brands will ask for a minimum of probably around 10. So this is where you can alter your pricing, and you can let them know, for this right here, this package, this is what I charge. So they already know your base pricing, and they already know what's within that scope of work, and what they want is probably going to be more than that baseline. So at that point, that's where negotiating comes into play. Negotiating pricing is one of the most important things that I really try to talk to beginners in UGC. And the reason for it is because you actually have more power than you think. When I'm scrolling through projects on Backstage, for instance, and when I'm applying for gigs on Backstage, their pricing is already set in stone. They already have their script. They already have things already laid out. So you have to remember, if you apply for something and they already put their pricing on there and the script and everything, you need to know that it is what it is. So negotiating at that point is not really in your power there. Now, there are some apps that I've talked about in a previous video, like B-roll, where you can bid higher. If what you think that they're asking for is worth more, you can absolutely say, this is what I'm willing to do it for. They'll go to your profile, they'll look and see if you're good for the job, and if they think you're really talented, they're willing to pay for you. I've bid 2 times the amount of what a brand was willing to pay of what they disclosed on their website, and they hired me. I think negotiating a UGC project is extremely important, and I think you absolutely should do that. If on the platform that you're applying the job for already says the pricing and it explains what their deliverables are, you don't really have a whole lot of power there, and they may just say, hey, we already said what our budget is. So at that point, it's hard to negotiate. With it being said, I still negotiate pricing. I'm at the point in my career where a lot of brands are reaching out to me. I'm looking at their script and I'm letting them know what I would charge. There are a few times where I asked them, hey, what's your budget for this? And they gave me a price that was literally 3 times what I would have charged. I was like, okay, that sounds great. So when you're negotiating, it's always a good idea to ask them, hey, what's your budget for this? And they'll let you know. If it's under budget, you could say, well, that's a little under what I normally do. Can I please read the script before I get started? Where you get your gigs, where you apply for your gigs really does matter on how much you're getting paid. What's in the deliverables inside of these videos, it really all depends on how much you're getting paid. I'm doing a whole video on scripts. That's a huge one on how much you should get paid. All of these are super important, and they all do fall under what you should get paid as a content creator. Add a ton of valuable resources to my website, so go to my website at Scylla Studios. I'm gonna put a link in the description below. Check that out. I offer free assets to content creators because when I first got started, I didn't really know a whole lot. And so I think it's important to help others, mentor others, and to try to grow this industry because it is a booming industry right now. And if you're just getting started, then your timing is absolutely perfect. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode on deliverables. I will see you there.